Paul Theron. He joins us now as our market watcher. You were in New York, right?
I was in New York. I did the New York Marathon. Last week on Sunday, everything went well. My legs didn't fall off.
Oh, great to have you back. Markets up for the day. Surprisingly enough, we saw the DAX in Germany is down around 1.5%. US markets not opening on a positive note, but resources and industrials really pushing us higher today, Paul.
Yeah, so interesting day like this with so many results coming through, because clearly this is the period 3 months on from the June year ends where companies have now reported. Now we're getting the September guys, they're starting to bring in their numbers. So with the overall index basically only up about a third, it was a good day to see just how company results affect the actual share price performance. So with the one exception of BWI, which had numbers which looked a bit messy, the sector that they're in, you had him on earlier, Brian Harley. Everyone else had a very positive reaction to results, and I'm thinking Netcare, I'm thinking Barloworld, and so on.
And Netcare was up 21% on the full year profit front, really beating consensus there. We saw Tongaat Hewlett flat, but we saw sugar production looking slightly better. Plethora of numbers that came through.
Because you know the story, everybody is as frustrated as hell because it's kind of like there's only one market, and that's the global market, and there's this macro concentration where everything is either in the green or in the red for the day. And I think that's fair, and that's because of the pronounced global issues we're dealing with. But it is nice in a way, isn't it, to see that earnings do still count, and that the long run, you have to deliver the numbers, and if you do deliver the numbers, then there's some sort of gains to be
We
had.
saw JD coming out with full year headline earnings per share up 34%. We saw Lewis looking stronger, first half profits up around 14%. Is this really, the beginning of the year perhaps we spoke on this and we said don't buy into the sectors, rather really pick good quality companies that you anticipate will have strong earnings. Is this now starting to bear fruit?
Earnings have been quite strong in that space, but the share prices haven't really done that well. So I guess the question you've got to ask yourself is, why do some companies have like 15 price to earnings ratios, lots of positiveness around, but these guys in the furniture subspace don't seem to be able to get the benefit of the doubt? Both Lewis and JD Group trading at pretty low levels. But then again, I know Lewis is busy with a empowerment transaction, and clearly JD Group's got a lot going on in its closet with the rearrangements and the restructuring vis-a-vis JD Group and Steinhoff and CAP and so on. So I suppose that's your reason there. But I do like the space. I think they ought to be getting a better rap from the market.
Lonmin is up 1.5% for the day. Cost per ounce increasing 11.2%. Normalized at around 8%, and still saying that it's going to start increasing capacity and also investing as much as they possibly can. They're looking at jewelry demand and car demand, automobile demand, also catalytic converters looking quite strong. Platinum plays.
Yeah, look again.
Pro-Anglo Platinum.
Impala we've liked traditionally, and then some of the other smaller players if you've got a high appetite for risk like Jubilee and others. But again, the platinum guys battling with the same scenario that the other, deep level miners battle with, and that's questions around their sustainability of their margins. So it's clear that the product is in demand and the prices are quite high, but because of electricity and labor related issues, there is this concern, and I think as an asset class, the market sort of lost interest in them. And so even though the market's flat for the year, the platinum sector is about the worst that there is out there. Platinum and construction has been the two areas not to be this year.
Okay, well, Barloworld actually came out with fantastic numbers as well today, but really linked to the mining industry.
Because Caterpillar globally is keyed into construction. It's big yellow heavy metal. It's all the marine engines and power generation. But here in the Barloworld case, it's really mostly mining because it's Iberia, Siberia, and here. Although Spain, Iberia, Portugal has been a negative for them because of the collapse of construction there. So it really is driving, mining. But we know, as Clive was saying, that people haven't exactly stopped the capex in that space. So great stock, great story. The only problem is, can you live with the fact that it makes a loss, then it makes a big profit next year?
Very cyclical and very exposed to very cyclical.
Plus, you add to that
sectors.
the motor vehicle resales business in this country, and then it becomes an even bigger, deeper, roller coaster ride.
Anglo-American only managing a 0.5% increase today, because we saw Kumba Iron Ore at the top of the top 40 up almost 3%, and then we saw Anglo Platinum down just over 1%, basically at the bottom of the top 40.
Well,
Anglo somewhere
you've
in
been
the middle.
reading all the stories, the noise there, the talk about the copper asset where they're fighting with the Chilean government, the proceeds being used potentially for De Beers, talk in the market that means Anglo may look at taking out the minorities in Kumba. What does that mean for Anglo Platinum? I don't know, but all things considered, a bit of noise on the corporate front there maybe the hedge funds and others starting to position in that
Interesting that
stock.
BHP flat negative, basically. Exara was up 0.8%. Most of the mining companies or resource companies doing quite well, and BHP not that great.
Look, Billiton, as you know, I can say nothing negative about them, but the one bit of news there was the onshore gas. You know, they
Yes,
bought all
in the
those
US.
fracking assets, and the production, outlook there, mostly positive in the long run, although they did have some slightly negative comments to make about short run petrochemical production. So,
Yeah.
maybe that's dragging
He's
them
not
back.
talking his own